So we're here with the wonderful ladies behind the Mink Catcher. Samantha, tell us who you are and yeah.
Do I talk to you?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm the director of and the co-writer of Mink Catcher. Our lovely co-writer and producer, Marie Schlingman, could not be here. And our other producer, Danielle Gahan, could not be here either. So I'm representing for
Everyone.
Team Mink. Yes.
And the star.
Hi, my name is Anna Margaret Hollyman, and I act in the Mink Catcher. And I guess by proxy, I'm representing the other actresses too. It was an amazing team of female actresses.
You have a lot of weight behind you tonight.
Yeah, they're all here.
They're all here. It was kind of amazing. Like, they are some really talented and incredible ladies, and they were all in the audience.
Yeah.
They were supporting it.
So let's start with y'all's connection, because Jonathan brought Gaby a long time ago to the festival. So is that technically where you guys know each other, or is it before then?
Well, I thought it was Gaby. I thought it was Jonathan Lisecki, but Anna Margaret.
Technically, it was.
It was.
Yes.
But it wasn't, because you remember that we met in a casting office.
Yes.
I'll let you.
Yeah, Sam and I did meet on the set of Gaby, and that's when we remembered one another. But I had met Sam a few years before in a casting office in New York, and she was telling me, just struck up a conversation, and she was about to start.
I talk a lot.
I do
in those
too. So
casting
we were meant to be.
Yeah.
And she was starting, I think you were just developing your documentary feature, Best Kept Secret. And so I remember I gave you a business card of mine.
You did?
I did! It was one of those little business cards. It was super tiny with my Facebook photo on it, which you can't see my face. But anyways, and because I so enjoyed talking to you about this project, and then it all came full circle. So it was really meant to be.
And then when I've known Johnny and I were roommates many years ago in a time called, I think it was 2000, at least it was the aughts and not the 90s. We lived in a terrible railroad apartment in Hell's Kitchen with no doors. And so I love Jonathan. And so when he was doing Gaby, he was like, "Girl, can you come be in a yoga scene?" And I was like, "Sure, I can be in a yoga scene."
It's one of the best scenes too.
It is a great
It's really
scene.
good.
I have my one line in that scene. And then everyone was talking about you. And Zeke Farrow, who's also a mutual friend of ours, was like, he likes when people are genius, and he's always right. And he's like, "This girl, Anna she's genius." So when this came about, I emailed Zeke, and I'm like, "Do you think that you could get me Anna Margaret's email, and I can ask her if she can do this thing?
Please let me be in this movie."
Thank goodness.
So yeah, all roads lead to Gaby.
All
essentially.
roads lead to Gaby.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Well, I'm curious then, because you do have such a strong background in documentary. What made you decide to do this?
Well, I'm an actor too, so it started with fiction, and I kind of never thought I would get behind the camera. I was like, "Oh, that's for those people, and they're brilliant, so I can't do that. They're brilliant." And my mom invited me to go to the March for Women's Lives in 2004, and I just finished a TV stint where I had no debt for the first time in my life, so I decided, let's go into debt. And I took a film crew down there, and it ended up being this whole 7-year process, and it was my first documentary, 21 Below. And I always wanted to get into fiction, and I was always writing and not really showing people. And I had worked on this one David Milch TV show, and he made me take his writing class. This is years ago, and he told me, "You're gonna end up behind the camera." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." That's right. So it was like I love actors. I love creating stories that are based in reality, and so this was kind of my first toe into it. So I started this feature. This Mink Catcher is a short that's in the world of a feature that Marie Schlingman and I have been developing and working the script for. I guess we've been working on it for a year, and we were like, we should do a short that's in the world of this to kind of explore it. And also, if someone reads the feature and we can actually make it one day, and they're like, "How can you do this cheaply?" And this is a weird movie. How's it going to look? We can go, "Aha! Here you go."
So looking at someone in the audience asked a great question last night that I definitely want to bring up with the name tags, and that being your setup shots. When did you get that idea? And it paints the whole story.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
That I cannot take credit for that coming out of Maria and I's imaginations. That was a real story. There's a society columnist in town called Nancy Smith, and when we came down to Texas, I guess we came down to Dallas 3 years ago to do research for the feature. We were introduced to Nancy, and she has like the most amazing stories of that time and like the women and what kind of went down in Dallas. And she told us how the women, like starting in 1980, what you wore, it became such a big status symbol that they would flip their tags out so you could see. And some of them would take the tags out, flip them around so you could read it. Because if you flip it just up, it can be upside down. So they really wanted you to see, like, Oscar de la Renta. And I just thought it was the most, like, amazing thing. And we had already started thinking about this idea of, like, you know, the stories we tell and the lies we wear. And we had developed the whole idea of this whole mink story and this mink myth. And she gave us that little tidbit. And we're like, oh, there's got to be, it's all about the tag.
Are you going to, with the feature, expand the whole, maybe not connection to, but just knowing that Neiman Marcus is here and it is a part of our city?
Listen, so the feature takes place, the short is kind of its own thing in the world of, but the feature takes place during the summer of 1980. So it's that whole massive heat wave during that crazy presidential election that really, like, it's like, what, 36 years later, and it's completely shaped our country's political landscape. Like the election now, I'm like, oh, it's our movie. It's like happening all over again. And it was an interesting time for Dallas because it was a tipping point where Dallas in the beginning of that summer was known mostly for the place where JFK was killed. And by the end of the summer, it was mostly known for Who Shot JR. And it's such a rich world. And the opening scene of the feature is in a Neiman Marcus dressing room. And yes, we would like to film that in the Neiman Marcus, downtown Neiman Marcus, whoever is in charge of letting us do this. It's like it's like a three-way mirror and a woman in like a glittery gown, and she finds a loose thread, and it's like that. Yeah, it's a big part of the film.
I think that'd be perfect, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So being able to bring it home here at the festival, the short, what's that like? I mean, you guys had, like you said, a ton of people last night.
It's pretty amazing and pretty special. I was really excited to shoot in Dallas. I think you can't make Dallas, you can't like go to New Jersey for Dallas. This is like, what this place looks like, it's just, it has its own unique character. And those actors, so we had Anna Margaret and Kristen Slazeman and Susan May Pratt, who plays Pete, were all like friends of friends and cast, and we knew we needed like a big cast of characters to fill out the party. And Tisha Blood and Matthew like held these auditions. I'm like, these actors are so crazy good, we kind of have to change the movie completely, which we didn't completely, but we did develop each of their characters so they knew who they were at the party. They knew how they felt about each other, and it made such a huge difference. So when the first day of shooting, we were doing that big long take in the hallway, and I was like, ugh, this is gonna take forever because we're gonna have to choreograph, it's gonna take forever. So like, okay, so let's just try one and you guys do whatever you feel naturally. Okay, so it's not going to take forever because they were all so good and they naturally fell in places. So we wanted to really share it with all of these people that gave us like nights of their lives in the hot summer, and with the crew, our Dallas crew here. It's just an incredible community of crazy talented people who are willing to do impossible things for no money, which doesn't exist like that in New York or Los Angeles. It's really special. So it was amazing to like have everybody be there and get to see their work and, you know, respond positively. They weren't like, I hate you now. How dare you make me, you know, be in that movie. So it's good.
Can we ask about the house and then the pool?
Oh yeah.
And what was that like for you acting in that scene? Because that was crazy.
Yeah. Well, the house was on Swiss Avenue, and Sam can kind of how did you come about it again?
So we're about to actually meet up with them. It's kind of in the feature, one of the characters lives on Swiss Avenue. My aunt lived on Swiss Avenue in the 80s, and I was like, oh, I know this is really just an interior, but I really want us to film on Swiss Avenue. And it's very expensive to film on Swiss Avenue. So a friend of my mom's is friends with this woman, Mary Mapes, who is an amazing, writer and filmmaker and journalist. And she lives on Swiss Avenue. And when we were down here location scouting, she was like, well, you should bring Samantha because my next door neighbor, his house is on the market and they haven't changed anything in that house since 1983. So it was the first house we saw. And it was so, like, the wallpaper was still there. I'm like, Jonathan Rudak's going to get so much cred for so much happening in this house. And, I mean, I'm so sorry we couldn't shoot in the kitchen because all the appliances were from... And it's this gorgeous, like, perfect house. And they very graciously let us film there. And we ended up, it was because it was on the market, we did a real estate video for them in return of filming there, and all the crew got to stay there, and yeah, it was worth doing that video.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, Mary's had a lot recently with films, by the way.
Listen, Mary, when we were down there, had just found out Kate Blanchett was playing her, and her stipulation was her son Robbie had to be a PA, and we gladly took Robbie. Robbie became, We love Robbie.
Robbie, we love you.
Yeah, Robbie Mapes.
If you see this.
Goddess Robbie, we love you. That was like, we were like, yeah, sure. And then, she's amazing. She's pretty amazing.
And it was pretty rare, too, to have, a location like that where, with all these other women and when we were all in our costumes and in that actual physical space, and because it wasn't like a sound stage or just an interior that was dressed, it was dressed obviously for 1980, but it was just so well intact. Like it was a really fun experience because it actually, I don't know, we were talking about, we did a bunch of night shoots and they went by like that. I really did feel like we were having a party in 1980 in the house. Like it was kind of amazing.
It was a special shoot. It really was.
Yeah.
Everybody, like did such incredible work.
Yeah, and everyone looked amazing.
Everyone looked amazing.
What was it like, the pull shot? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, that was it was choreographed in a way that, the thing that was really awesome is the way Sam wanted to create this kind of fluid movement. And I think that's a really fun thing for me to see is just to watch that whole scene and how it was shot. And it was pretty surreal being in the bottom of an empty swimming pool. But it was, I don't know, I loved it. I thought it was a really, I had never shot anything like that, that had that kind of fluidity to it, and that intimacy as well. And I love how how it's juxtaposed to the interior of the house, and then suddenly you're in this hollowed out space.
It helps a lot when you have two really, really good actresses. Like that was probably watching you and Susan together. And I have to say something that I always knew you were very talented, but you don't know how good she is until you're looking at take after take, and there's just subtle differences in every single take.
Thanks, Sam.
She's good. I'm like, no, Anna Margaret's amazing. You really are. And you guys were just so, it's like that fun thing on a set where when you're watching really good actors, like, go up against each other.
But you're also a very, very, very good director, and I think it's a testament to, we're just going to watch this tape on repeat now, like,
for ourselves.
We're having a hard day. I'll just be like, I am great. But it's true, because you're amazing with story and character, and you also are an actor, so you get it.
Thank you.
Well, I think this loving moment's a perfect way to kind of capture the Mink Catcher that's here at Dallas. And we obviously can't wait to see what you will do with the feature. And to keep us in mind for when you get it finished.
Are you kidding me? This has been such a treat. Like, we would like to come back with over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.